Welcome once again back to VCS English. It is 2-1 in favor of GAM. Maybe I should have let production keep my predictions wrong. Because it's looking like GAM's on match point. I don't want to say anything more than that. GAM is on match point. Now, I asked you a question before we went to break your way. What do we try and do about the top lane? You've had 5 minutes to ruminate, get that big brain of yours, get those wrinkles wrinkling. What have we come up with?
It's actually quite easy. I needed about 2 seconds to figure that out. Lane swap. You tried 3 games. The best one of those 3 games was when you babysat your top laner and didn't let Kiaya run all over him in laning phase. And guess what? That's exactly what you have to do. Just lane swap away from Kiaya matchup. Get Nanaware safely to, I don't know, level 10, level 11, so you can just farm waves in side lane. Don't let Kiaya scale into that beast. And try to get away from that matchup. And the good thing about lane swapping is not only do you get away from the enemy top laner, who's much better than your top laner, you're also putting both top laners behind. And your top lane is already behind, so you're used to playing with this kind of top laner, but now the enemy team's top laner is behind as well. So you're kind of eliminating that huge advantage Kiaya has accrued in all 3 games so far. So please, just put your bot lane into the top lane and play some Australian lanes.
The one problem with that is that you lose an advantage. You're giving up an advantage of yours to potentially counteract an advantage of theirs because you don't get Shogun winning against Easy Love. That should be a winning matchup for you if you're Vikings. Not that Easy Love has been bad, but Shogun should be the better ADC.
But they haven't played for that anyway so far in the series. Sure. So they are clearly fine with not playing through bot lane because they've played 2 games on Shogun Nautilus and 1 game of Shogun Ziggs. So they're not trying to have hypercarry Shogun on their team. Maybe they should. They actually definitely should. But as long as they're not trying to accelerate through bot lane, there's no downside to just putting the top lane into the bot side and try to avoid this horrific matchup that just costs you game after game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the best bet is a lane swap. I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's very hard to implement if you haven't prepped it. You'd hope they have, given that lane swap meta was a thing not too long ago. You'd hope they know how to play it out. You could do the B go top thing again. Shogun has clearly shown that he can sit bot on Nautilus with B on center. That is, if GAM sniff that out, maybe they pick something more aggressive for Easy Love, because he's just been on the Ezreal every time. He's been having pretty good performances, very good true shot barrages, but certainly not any hyper carry performances. It's tricky. Someone else that I think needs to be talked about a bit is the jungle matchup. Levi is running the show. I think Guri off Zyra could be in trouble. Do we see a Zyra ban or a pick away?
Well, they just gave him Zyra back-to-back on top on first pick, so not entirely sure if GAM is really all that concerned about Zyra, which is a little bit confusing because even though you've won against Zyra now, I think it's still too strong of a champion and it's too good in Guri's hands. We saw the early game go Guri's way into with the invade early on. They got all 6 grubs, even with a failing top lane. So I think it's a bit too risky. Why would you risk giving Zyra over again? I do expect GAM to go to blue side, though, because Vikings, I think, is gonna choose red side. I'm not sure if you have confirmed anything in that direction, because I kind of expect them to try and get out of this top lane counterpick situation and just, even though Nanahue is probably not going to be able to counterpick Kiaya, at least give him something that's safer, where Kiaya can't just go super cynical, okay, I'm gonna choose whatever hypercarry I deem necessary, because now he's gonna have to blind pick maybe a Renekton or something a little bit less dangerous in the late game. So I kind of expect Vikings to go to red side. If that's the case, I think Zyra is gonna be banned by Vikings, actually, because in the first game they gave Zyra to GAM, and Levi looked really, really strong with the Zyra as well. So I fully expect Zyra to be banned this time.
It's going to be a tricky one, and there are so many little twists and turns and micro adjustments. I think this is a huge test of coaches. Coaches need to be really, really on their game. This is not a draft where you can just follow the priority list. And speaking of that draft, we are going straight in.
Oh, and they are still on blue side. That's a bit surprising to me. Okay, so now the Zyra is probably going to be first picked again by Vikings. GAM chooses to... No, Vikings chose to stay on blue side. So this is really the make or break game for Nanoware. His coaches and his team, apparently, SOFM, Hankei, all of them trust him to be able to perform against Kiaya, because otherwise they would have put him on the red side. So now he has to show us that he's actually capable of doing so. They only have 2 bans against top lane, and there are so many hyper carries Kiaya could choose from. And even though he's not really known for his top lane AD carries, I feel like it doesn't really matter when the base skill level of the player is so much higher than the enemy.
Yeah, Easy Love looking to go back to Ezreal again. I think that makes sense. Just keep doing what's working. It does give Elio a huge amount of priority. It means Levi never needs to play around your lane. You can just sit top, really blow open this weakness in the Viking armor. Does Levi just snap away an AP jungler here?
Yeah, so it's either Corki or Lilia, I guess, on this spot.
Corki makes
Corki
the most
if you
sense,
want to
I think.
secure the Corki for yourself, Lilia if you just want to wait with the mid lane pick. Yeah, it looks like they once again want to play the game of chicken around the Corki. So far, Kati has been favoring the Corki counters, but of course this could also go wrong, because now Kati once again locks in the Corki counter. Okay, it's a Jax top lane. Interesting. But yeah, let's stay on the Corki on the mid lane matchup for a second, because if they don't choose Corki here, they could actually try to craft something that counters specifically the Zeri, because Zeri is supposed to go into Corki. So I'm interested to see if GAM has something in their back pocket to kind of attack the Zeri blind pick mid lane here.
Yeah, super interesting stuff though. That Jax coming out, Nanoware taking what should be strong in most matchups, potentially pushing Kiaya to a Cassante. And of course, we all know that Cassante can do magical things, but
yeah, we're going to game 5.
Hard.
We're going to game 5.
Okay, big calls.
Yeah, it's Zyra and Zeri for Vikings, and they don't have a horrific top lane matchup, so I think they are going to win this game as the better team. But let's see how they round out their composition. I kind of expect another Senna Nautilus here, because why not? So yeah, unless GAM is gonna... Oh, they actually banned Nautilus themselves.
Interesting.
So maybe the Caitlyn is finally coming out here, because they don't see something weird in the other lanes, and of course Caitlyn into Cassante sounds... And Caitlyn into Lilia is actually really, really strong, because Lilia has huge problems getting on top of the Caitlyn. So I kind of like the Caitlyn on this spot. Maybe Caitlyn Lux could be a thing. Caitlyn Karma comes to mind as well for even more movement speed. And disengage.
Interesting raid to ban a Poppy away here.
Yeah, not sure about the Poppy. Kind of...
That potentially telegraph the last 2 picks?
Did they want to go Poppy Senna in bot lane?
Could be.
But Poppy is not even good into Ezreal, so...
Yeah, Poppy isn't great into Cassante either. Not too sure. I think it maybe telegraphs what they want their support to be. Maybe they want to pick Braum and read Poppy as a potential Braum counter.
No, I think they wanted Rel. Actually, Vikings banned away the Rel.
Actually.
Yeah, I think they wanted Rel, but then Rel was banned as a counter read on the Poppy. Because they wanted Rel, because the Poppy is good at stopping Rel engage, and then the Vikings saw the Poppy ban and read the Rel, so they actually banned the Rel. So it's like 2 or 3 layers deep with the reads and counter reads. But we finally get the Caitlyn, so now it's Shogun time. It's on Shogun to carry this game.
Yeah, I mean, I like this Caitlyn Lux. I like them taking it to GAM, trying to play an aggressive early game, trying to blow open where you should have the better lane. You should be the better bot lane. You need to blow it open. And Emo is just going to go to Orianna. Safe hands.
Okay, Orianna into Zeri. So this is exactly what we talked about earlier. So the Zeri was blind picked, and the Orianna should be able to just straight up win lane into an AD carry. I have no idea how strong Zeri is into anything that's not Corki. I would expect Orianna to be able to at least control the lane, if not dominate. But so far, Kati has looked like the better player between those two. So let's see if he can get away with the Zeri. Still unbeaten on the champion. I think this is now his 5th game. So it's getting to a point where 5 games unbeaten is quite the number. Let's see if he can once again carry his team over the line and into a Game 5 to decide today's series.
And it wouldn't be a VCS English return without it being a Game 5, so I think we are all on the Vikings hype train just for this one game, at least. Once it's Game 5, all bets are off. Gonna head on to the Rift. Nanahui, that's where my eyes are, because I feel like the fate of the universe is rested in top lane, but your way.
It might, but maybe actually they found a way to circumvent that and just have top lane slowly lose, but accrue advantages on the other sides of the map quickly enough to offset this kind of disadvantage.
Maybe. I mean, Caitlyn Lux, like, I am a little bit scared of a potential Shogun on Caitlyn just getting an enormous lead. And there being so little you can actually do about that. As you said, Lilia struggles into Caitlyn. Those snap traps, she's got 4 feet. 2 more to step in them.
Yeah, and I think Orianna does too. If she doesn't have a secret ball carrier who can get on top of Caitlyn, which is not the case here.
Hello!
Again?
VCS has returned! B flashing away at level 1 as GAM has gone for a heavy invade.
Wait a second. Can Vikings find a way back into this fight? Shogun would really like to fight in the bush with his passive. Really strong early game champion. If you get to stand in the bush and just fire off your headshots over and over again. But it doesn't look like they can get any control back. So in the end, a little bit of a difficult start for Guri. Yet again, Levi stepping on the plant. Very rude. So
I think what I don't like is B, I think, skilled his E too early. I think if you have Q here, there's things you can do. You, of course, want E for lane, but imagine a Q right here. Imagine the Lux Q your way. Imagine.
Okay, but they're actually winning the fight now.
Nanahui coming in, has his E. Can get the stun. Easy Love has to cleanse. Now Nanahui in so much trouble, though. Does get over the wall. Has to be careful of an angry red buff. As this is just chaos. Look at the flashes.
Yeah, and you pointed out the Caitlyn, not the Caitlyn, the Lux Q, but actually the Lux E dealt immense amounts of damage there. Did you see all the AoE damage she landed on 2 or 3 targets? So yeah, maybe they could have secured a kill, but in terms of just pure damage output, the E was huge in that fight.
Yeah, that's fair. But in the end, no one going down.
No one died, yeah, but Nanahui without Flash does not bode well for the rest of this game when we know how the early games went in some of the top lane matchups. We have to say, though, this is more of a straight-up top lane matchup and definitely something he's gonna have played more of in his solo queue career, especially. Maybe he has never played against Smolder top lane, or a Smolder top lane as good as Kiaya, especially, but he has definitely played against really good K'Sante players. So I think he's gonna be much more comfortable here. For what it's worth. Let's see if he can actually finally do something in the top lane.
Uri will have it poke his head into Levi's jungle, realize that the buff and the Gromp are up, and with the lane being shoved out, it's harder for Levi to equalize that this game. We may actually be on track for a 3 buff.
I just thought about people who yeah, just think about a viewer from 2015 or 16 where Zyra was a support champion and see her be the most aggressive invade jungler in 2024. It's like, how is that possible?
Your way, here's some trivia. What did Zyra passive used to do?
Oh, I was a Zyra main, so you can't trick me. Yeah, I played a lot of support Zyra, even back in the day. It was a really stupid version of cock mode passive.
Yeah, you got to fire the shot.
Yep.
Every time you got a kill with that, it felt like Christmas.
Yeah, it was a really stupid passive. I'm so glad they removed that.
Bit of
Okay,
a
now
misplay
we're
there by
getting
Kiaya,
Kiaya quite
taking
low.
a few extra bonks, but he is still
He doesn't have
Cassante.
flash.
He has a biscuit though.
Yeah, I think with Flash he actually has lethal there. I think with Flash Kiaya has to back off because Nanoware can E Flash on him and then W Q him to death. But Kiaya knows he doesn't have Flash, so
Ooh, Kiaya knows the timings.
Yeah, so this is much better for Nanoware. But let's go back to the jungle because this is insane domination from Guri. Look at the CS, look at the camps. If Levi can get a kill here, it's really bad.
No.
Oh,
yep,
my.
first blood. Disaster.
Guri is raging at his teammates right now. He just won the game for them in jungle. He got he got almost every buff. He got a huge camp advantage. He invaded multiple camps. He was 2 levels ahead. He's still 2 levels ahead. And then they just give first blood to Levi. That is so sad. As a jungler, it hurts my heart. But he's still ahead. He's even after the first blood, he's still so far ahead of Levi.
Yeah, this is Elio as well, just landing a really nice Q, found a way through the minions, and B just had absolutely nothing to do about it.
Honestly, B, you can't really blame B, because it's all back to the level 1 fight, and yeah, he lost his flash there, so he's vulnerable. He can be, if he gets hit by Q, he's dead, and he got hit by Q, so not much he can do there. It's still very unfortunate for Guri, but have a look at the CS and the levels. Levi is fighting to get level 4 here from this camp, I believe. Doesn't even hit level 4, now he does. But Guri is gonna be level 6 when grabs spawn, and there's no way Levi can contest Guri here.
Love watching Zyra jungle. I know it's degenerate, I know it's gonna get nerfed, and it deserves to, but God, I love it.
I love it.
I think I'm Mastery 7 Zyra, and I have never played a game with her in a lane.
Nice, very good. Yeah, I played Zyra jungle 3 years ago, and it was already fun back then, so I'm so glad it's finally meta. I'm so glad Zyra's in the game. She's such an interesting champion. The control, I like all the control champions.
Shockwave used there from Emo, just dissuading any threat. Levi is lurking in the wings,
Levi?
only level 4 though, as they're moving in onto Elio. They flash forward and Cardi will pick him up. The other side, Guri can't quite lock the deer down, has to be careful because Kiaya has gotten here, and Nanaway has no intention to move. As you said though, Guri level 6. I don't want to go into it, a slow from Levi will dissuade the play, but it's Grubs, and Vikings have Prio.
And this is just how strong Zyra jungle is. A squishy mage jungler without mobility can just stand in the river, look the enemy jungler and top laner in the eyes and say, you can't do anything against me. I'm level 6, you're level 4. Go back to your jungle. Guri's actually level 7 now.
Yeah, Guri's going crazy. Guri is going sicko mode.
Yeah, this is why you shouldn't give him Zyra. I know you won a game against him, but he still is a really good Zyra player. He's just really good on farming junglers, and he's not level 7. Okay, it lied to us, the stats lied to us, but he still secured all 3 grubs. He's gonna steal yet another camp, and Levi is just... he can't do anything. He's searching for camps, but everything has been taken already. So he's gonna go.
Levi, he's trying to do his old trick. He's opening the pocket dimension, but Froggy's been out of the game too long. It's empty your way.
Okay, can he get the red buff? Red buff into bot lane gank sounds like a decent one, but Guri is coming, and Guri's level 7. Levi is level 5. Yep. Levi.
No, they have to evacuate.
This is a masterclass in jungle domination. Like this needs to be studied. Guri has played the game of his life here against Levi, against the record champion of the VCS.
On the other side, Kiaya does force Nanaway's flash, had to get away from the all-out. Doesn't manage to kill him, but has the flash advantage in the matchup. It's a tricky one, as how do you play this? You have a stronger top lane at the moment. Kiaya is up a flash, but Guri is just an unstoppable force. Wherever he shows his head, the mountains will quake.
Yeah, I think you just have to give up a lot of stuff here. Luckily your bot lane...
dead. Yep. Lovely Shane. Oh no, Elio gets away. Shogun doesn't have ult either. Gets away with a flash. It's it's not good that he lives from Vikings' perspective, obviously, but it doesn't matter a huge amount because they're still going to get an enormous amount of gold from these plays.
Exactly. I'm a little bit confused about Guri not taking the dragon, but I guess he wants to really cement his advantage in the farming department, because if he goes for dragon, obviously he's going to give Levi time to invade him, and now Levi is going to get caught on this invade. If Guri lands the E... Oh, Guri smites it. Man, this sucks so much for Levi. He just tries to find any way back into the game. Yes, he's level 6. Yes, he's actually up 1 kill, but he's 40 CS down on Lilia.
It's a disaster, as Kiaya, once again, trying to bully Nanaway, has Levi as the backup. Nanaway is going to try and look for a 1-for-1, and with Guri there, it may not even be a 1-for-1. Sleepy time, Levi will clean it up.
Oh, Guri?
Oh, no, Guri's in so much trouble here. This is a disaster. Could lose so much of a lead, and Lilia with a double.
Yep, and this is how Levi gets back into the game. If he can't farm, well, he can just kill people. Now he's 3-0. He's still 40 CS down, but does it really matter? He has all the gold in the world, and yes, he's still behind in experience, but it's not going to be all that important if he shows up with the Leandries to the next fight, which he's going to do. He actually finishes his first item before Zyra does after this start. That's incredible. So Levi finds a way out of his pickle. He's the jungle goat for a reason here. He is the 7-time champion for a reason. He just knows how to even come back from devastating positions.
Yeah, so Kiaya starts this play off, gets Nanaway so low, and then it's just the junglers clashing and coming up. It's going to be a long replay.
Oh yeah. We started a bit early here. Let's see him bonk. Bonk. Okay, another bonk.
Bonk. Bonk. Yes, I agree. Bonk, bonk. And then Levi breaks the accord.
Nanaway doesn't hit the E on Levi. Could they have turned on Levi? Potentially. Maybe. If he stuns Levi and they get E ultimate onto him from Zyra, they might be able to burst him down. But Zyra didn't have ultimate. So even then, it's probably not a good play. And they just didn't read Elia's movement there. Because 2v2, they had the advantage. Guri could have won against Levi, but in the end, the Braum set them up for success. And now Levi's even going to get the third, the 3 grubs, the second iteration of the grubs. Or is he? There's one pesky plant trying to contest him. They need one of them to get the buff.
Yep. Yeah, they will. I mean, Guri's here. Guri is still incredibly strong despite the spike of Levi. I think he is going to end up securing the 5 grubs.
Okay, 5 grubs is still very strong, especially with a Caitlyn on your side. You kind of always want to get 5 grubs, or 4 to 6 grubs, I should say, if you have a Caitlyn, because it just makes it so much easier to cement your Caitlyn pushing power. Looking at Caitlyn's items, a small little quiz. What exactly is that item called? I actually have no idea myself. So
Rage Feather, or the feather?
Yeah, the feather thing. Yeah,
it's like Rage Feather or something like that. It's a component.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks cool. Doesn't really do much, but
it's just a little component. Easy Love chunked out. This tower extremely low, should be going down on the next wave, but Levi here to prevent that happening.
Okay, B tried the snipe there. Now he doesn't have his ultimate, but then again, it's support Lux, so do you really care? Not really. So Guri is here. They should be able to secure the tower if they dare step up to hit it, but it seems like they don't actually want to go for that. It's Dragon first, and this is Hextech Dragon, a pretty late Dragon at 13 minutes, so we're a bit late with the whole game, and this gives time to Ezreal, and it gives time to Orianna to scale. Even if Vikings can get a little bit of an advantage with their pushing power, it should be possible for GAM to find a teamfight later on in this game where they've hit their power spikes and are in a strong position to fight.
Will clean up that tower. Big bit of gold to him. Oh, that true shot barrage is so annoying. Just interrupting backs. Always the worst, but does give GAM a little bit of priority on the map as they roll out to the mid lane. But of course, no damage done to this tower. Not a huge amount of standing gold ready for them to collect. So Vikings will just sit pretty happily with a reasonably solid, 1.5k gold lead.
Yeah, and of course Caitlyn is gonna be mid lane now. They're gonna invest the next 5 to 10 minutes to just pressure down the mid lane tower. They have 5 grubs, they have Caitlyn Lux. So they should be able to just slowly whittle away at this structure and then hopefully get into the mid game at 20 minutes with a huge zone of just full-on poking power and control with Zyra, with all the cupcakes, with Lux being able to catch out stragglers. So this is not the next objective for Vikings. It's not super interesting to watch because they just have to hit the tower.
Ooh.
Or Elio. Okay, that works too.
Elio cleaned up.
Yeah, but this is how you play Caitlyn compositions. You just hit towers and win the game slowly.
Yeah, Vikings will, of course, move over and just pick up the Herald as well. They have so much tempo on the map, there's very little GAM can do about this one. That is 2 objectives being pressured at once by Vikings, and the question just becomes, what can GAM do? They don't have this colossal advantage in top lane. They don't have Kiaya playing a hyper carry that is going to solo win the game. He's just on Cassante.
Some people might disagree, but Cassante is not quite Smolder in the late game.
No.
So even though he has the 4,700 HP and 300 attack damage and yada yada, he's not going to be able to carry. Easy Love trying to find a shot. Oh,
finds his way out.
Yeah, Vikings would like to defend this tower, and I think with B here, they should be able to hold it for one more wave. It's a bit unfortunate that they got so low on this tower, because Nanahua is constantly pressured underneath. Can Kati find the kill on Emo?
No, Emo with some very good moves. They'll have to go back in for round 2, and they do just about find the damage as the Rift Herald charges.
They're slowly taking control of the whole map. Really strong last 3-4 minutes from Vikings. They've now gotten mid tower, top tower, bot tower, and of course secured 2 kills on the way and 1 extra objective. So yeah, Vikings just really asserting their dominance here in the mid game, and that's exactly what they should do with the Zyra Caitlyn composition.
Yeah, exactly. Do that before they fall off. There is a TP coming in here, but GAM is already really low. I don't know if you want this fight, despite Kiaya having such a good position. Doesn't unstoppable through the E, but does manage to get a little tag onto Guri. Good damage from Evo as well. Needs to find a way in. Blast Cone gets Kiaya flipped back. Levi trying everything, does get a huge split. That's 3 down. Oh no, Guri will fall as well. The block on the Caitlyn on the Nanahua can go massive. No. He doesn't kill Easy Love though. An absolute blunder from the Jax. It doesn't really matter though. He's going to keep dancing this one out. True Shot Barrage doesn't really get anything done. Cassante will clean up on to Shogun. Finally, Nanahua falls, and my word, what an error.
A little bit of a micro mistake, but overall it's a good fight for GAM, because they recognized Vikings are the stronger team if they manage to get back into their base and spend their gold. But they were on huge unspent golds. Their pockets are way too deep, and they don't actually have the advantages on this fight right now. They haven't reset in ages. All their HP bars look anemic. And yeah, in the end, GAM can just force them, and with Levi hitting that amazing spell, they decide the fight in their favor quite easily. Nana were almost able to turn it around. He just needed one more auto attack on Easy Love. Maybe he was out of range. I thought he had it, but he chooses to go the other way. He does still secure 2 kills though, so he's actually in a stronger position than in any game so far in the series.
Your way. How do we ever predict what's going to come next? We should have known after 5-6 years of VCS. Should never make definitive statements. That early game, you'd think it was unreturnable for Levi. Guri was so far ahead, but Levi is equal in items with him now.
He's 4-0. He's still 50 CS down, but it doesn't matter if you get all the kills. He's still a level down, which makes sense, but in the end, Vikings, the individual matchup, it's interesting for people who like to look at jungle, and especially at these 2 jungle champions, but in the end, of course, it's about the objectives, it's about the overall state of the game, and even though they gave up a few kills in the last team fight, Vikings are still in a better position here. They have a Caitlyn, which is just destroying towers all across the map. They have secured all the dragons so far, once again at the 2 dragon point. Last 2 games, they couldn't secure a single dragon after this point, so the next dragon is going to be interesting to watch. Can they finally get to Soul Point in one of these games? but they should be able to do it this time around, because even Carty is silently scaling up to a lot of items now, and 2 already, and we've seen Carty completely run away with the team fights in game number 2.
We have Vikings definitely not despairing. We are 50 seconds away from Baron being on the map, 4 away from a dragon. It is Infernal Soul as well. This is one that Vikings are unlikely to sort of take their eye off. They sort of did in previous games where it was that Chemtech Soul. They sort of realized, we don't need to put a huge amount of effort into this. That is unlikely to happen with an Infernal. As B, sort of, I will say, not super impressing me on the luck so far.
I mean, they won their lane, so that's the main part about Lux. Now, of course, he's just fishing for some Qs, trying to help out Shogun on defensive positioning, so it's not the most flashy champion in the mid game, that's for sure, especially if you're not super far ahead. Some of the carrier games, of course, in the last few years, where he goes 5-0 on support Lux, look incredible, but most of the games go like this, where you win the lane, you have a little bit of a gold lead, but the enemy team has Braum, so most of your spells just kind of disappear into the Braum shield.
That's fair. Kiaya, still a bit of a side lane monster, not too sure what the answer to him is yet. Not that he's truly set up for split pushing, he is obviously still wanting to look for team fights.
It looks like Carty so far is the one matching him. Once he has shield bow, he should actually be able to match him permanently. Right now they're just just sending him to catch the waves, and they're not confident in Nanahue's ability yet to actually just stay in lane with Kiaya consistently. He's still quite far down in experience. He just hit level 12 and Kiaya has been level 13 for a long time. He's down 40 CS too, so maybe it's a good call. But then again, I don't really see Santa being able to chase down Jax. So in the long run, I think Jax is just going to be the one to answer him and just hopefully scale into something that can even contest Kiaya and maybe even put a little bit of pressure on him.
Maybe that would be ideal. This is a much better performance from Nanaway than the Na games had been. This Jax has been infinitely more impactful than what is Infinity times 0. Some math nerd can tell me. We have slowed down. Once those outer turrets fell, the easy turret power of the Caitlyn sort of ran out. You need to do a little bit more to get past this and to actually start hitting onto those inners.
Yeah, to be honest, now is the time in the game where the Caitlyn composition slows down a bit, but they still put on a lot of pressure and they still secure a lot of jungle camps. They advance their vision, they wait for someone to overstep and then maybe pick them, but it's all about controlling the jungle, all about controlling the field and making all your ways on the rift shorter than the enemies, so they're always going to be first on every single tower they go for. You can see it here. Carty is the first because he can run through the jungle, so he's going to get a little bit of chip damage on the top tower. Then they're going to go back to mid lane, and if no one is there, they're going to get a little bit of chip tower on the mid tower, and slowly but surely they're going to whittle down all these structures and set up a little bit more of a gold lead to then hopefully transition into an unlosable fight around objectives.
Unlosable is certainly a word to use after the 2 games we've already watched. Your way, the 3 games, I should say. So many unlosable fights that were indeed lost.
Yeah, and so many fights that just ended with everyone dead on the field and nothing happening.
No one won.
Yeah.
I think that's like a reflection on the folly of war or something. It's pretty deep when you think about it.
True.
Kuri tagged up. They're not going to pull the trigger on that. They are just playing around this dragon. 10 seconds on it, and GAM want to contest.
So, can they utilize Zyra Caitlyn to set up a trap? Nope, they can't. But once again, they're too late for the 3rd dragon. What is up with the 3rd dragons and Vikings not being able to just secure the next dragon on the set? They're so dominant when the first 2 dragons spawn, then nothing happens for the 3rd. Just an oversight 3 games in a row, so hopefully they will be able later in the game to finally secure a third dragon, because so far, once they've lost the dragon, they've never been able to get another one later.
Kiaya in trouble. He's a lot of
Yes,
CC on him, but he's Cassante.
Yeah,
As they have already picked up the top tower, they'll get the mid tower as well. That's a huge amount of gold to Kati. He got both of those.
Okay, so they sacrificed a setup position for Dragon for immediate gold benefit and a little bit of map control on the top side. So the logical conclusion now is set up Baron, use all your vision you just secured, and use the 2 lanes you can push into the inhibitors now on the top side to create space between the enemy team and the Baron, and then just go for the Baron with all your control. So if they're not able to get the Baron in the next 10 minutes, it would have probably been better to just go for the Dragon. Let's see if they execute on their clear plan to go for the Baron.
Giving it a 10-minute timeline. Very bold in League of Legends, but I do see what you mean. B gets his shield popped. That's a small price to pay to block a potential engage angle, but GAM have just moved in, and with no real, no taxes paid, they've got the vision control for themselves now.
Yeah, but Vikings can now slowly re-enter the river because they had to reset and use their gold, spend the gold, not make the same mistake as they did earlier and get caught on no money actually spent on items. So they played a little bit safer. They are going to lose the mid, in and outer tower, which is a little unfortunate, opening up the field of battle even more. But now Levi is caught.
Huge ultimate though. Levi caught out completely. Elio will be going down as well. Kati has clutched up. He does not want to lose to his former team.
And you can also just kill enemies and then go to Baron.
Yeah,
that's
just kill
possible
them.
too.
Just hit the man.
It's not really the way Hanke would have liked to see this game play out, because everything was set up so nicely for the macro geniuses to just slowly gain control and get the Baron. But yeah, if the enemy team just ins into your jungle, what can you do? Like, you're not going to say no to that Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is fairly foolish here to step up, but it was a brilliant punish from Kati.
Yeah, this is the vision from GAM's perspective, and they do have 4 people close together here, but they can't see all the edges, and then it's just Zyra being an amazing champion, catching out Levi. Elio dies instantly after as well. Just, why are you there? Yes, you're close to the rest of your team, but you're way too far extended into the enemy territory with no vision cover on the next bushes or the next edges around the next jungle walls. So yeah, there was no way for them to live that situation, and now Vikings finally secure a dominant position in game number 4.
Yeah, this one is now so much harder for GAM to approach. They don't have the Baron to potentially force a fight. They don't have a lead to play around. They don't have Kiaya just absolutely going insane. It does kind of just seem like Vikings are in control. They're pushing in this final lane that they've still got the inner on, playing as a team. Otherwise, very safe, very tanky.
Yeah, can they make it to the tower? Because they have 5 grubs and Baron. The tower is gonna fall really quickly if they actually can hit it. But GAM so far, with a good job at defending this tower. Now it's gonna be time. And look at Kati on the top side. In the meantime, that's split pushing.
Yeah, we just went 1-1-3. It's inevitable that we're going to find a break somewhere. 5 grubs, good range on our carries. This is so difficult to repel. Shogun, as soon as a wave comes in, he'll be on that mid tower. Kiaya trying to desperately find something to goes all out onto B. Does manage to do a fair bit of damage. Nunaway gets yoinked back in, but will turn it around, at least go 1-for-1. Does finally fall to easy love. Yeah, hello? Meanwhile, game is ending as 2 Indians have fallen.
Carries, can we take a second to appreciate what we just saw here?
Did we just see a macro play?
A VCS team successfully set up 1-3-1 or 1-1-3 lanes, executed, forced the enemy team to move and secure 2 inhibitors while just trading 1-for-1 in kills. This is textbook macro. This is what we always wanted to see from VCS teams, and it's finally happening. What an amazing accomplishment here from Hank K and his boys. This is just really solid gameplay. This is like, you can't play this any better than the way they executed this Baron push. And in both games they've won, 2 and 4. Once they got the Baron, it's almost like JDG last game. Once they got the Baron, the game is straight up over. They just execute so incredibly precisely and decisively once they have the Baron, very aggressively pushing into the enemy team, into the enemy team's base, I should say. And now look at this game. It's wide open, 2 inhibitors down. They just have to go back to the bot lane. They still have Caitlyn and 5 grubs, so the tower should be no obstacle whatsoever. And I think we're going game 5.
It certainly seems that way your way. It would take divine intervention, I feel, for us to not see game 5 with how far in front the Vikings are and how set up they are to close this one out. They would have to make a fairly huge mistake.
Well, and I caught it after 3 picks, by the way, so...
Yeah,
if they somehow lose from this position, they don't deserve to win. Like, just to be clear, no caster curse is strong enough to make them lose from this position.
We also get a 1v1.
Oh, finally!
Oh, Zap, Elio doesn't take any damage. None away now, very deep. It does have that flash to get out. Zyra ult used as well, but look at the health bars. GAM just can't defend anymore. There is no wave at the moment, so never mind. There it is, and Vikings will claim the final structure. Super minions are already crashing into the Nexus. I think this is going to be a back and a TP from Nunaway. Elio trying to make something happen in that little gap. Shogun doesn't get stunned though, and GAM, they're at the hot gates, and they have to hold.
Engage Braum, KW. This is all the might Engage Braum has. Flash Q, and then he looks at you menacingly.
Yeah, it's very menacing though. Kiaya rather, trying to get something done, does get a big scoot back into the all-out. Good damage from Easy Love, takes Cardi very low. Nunaway trying to get this one done, opens up the Nexus, taking the towers, traded in with his own life. No, never mind, he will actually get away, and he keeps on living. Oh my word, he lives forever, and that is going to be Vikings tying up the series 2-2. And in the battle of new kings and old kings in the VCS, of course we have to go the distance, because you need 5 games for Regicide.
What a poetic way this series is gone. It's the fight of team against individual. Can the best top laner this league has ever seen win against the best team, maybe the best macro team we've ever seen? It's clearly Vikings, once they execute their plays, they are better. We have seen it now, how dominant they can be. This was just such an impressive execution with the Baron. There was no look back. They just instantly knew where to go. They knew exactly how to pressure the 2 points. They had the 2 inhibitors down before GAM could even realize what was happening, and the game was just instantly over. Very impressive macro play. But then we look back at the game before, and it was just Kiaya masterclass, solo killing, getting his hyper carry online, and just winning the team fights almost on his own. So now game 5, we're gonna see, is this the individual might that stands supreme, or can a team actually challenge GAM's individual players? Game number 5, just to decide who's going to go to the finals, is coming up very soon.
It will come very soon, and I'm so happy to be back your way. I'm so happy that VCS has welcomed us back in style. We will be back as well with a 1v1, just to explain. The VCS, when we go to the final game of a series, side selection is decided by a Howling Abyss 1v1. We don't know who the teams will pick as their champion, but we'll find out soon, and we'll be bringing you VCS action right in a couple minutes.